Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm going to show you how I made these textured papers using acrylic paints and a Gelli Plate. And if you'd like to know how I did it, then please carry on watching, and as usual, all will be revealed. Okay, so here we go. I'm using the same process over and over again. I apply a very thin smearing of acrylic paint onto my Gelli Plate. I'm using a brayer, and the secret here is to make sure that you just have a very, very thin layer of paint. The paints that I'm using are all acrylics, and they're Payne's Grey, titanium white, and towards the end of this video I start to use lamp black. I'm also using tissue paper, as you can see here. This is wet strength tissue paper, and I think it's quite easy to obtain from various outlets. Sometimes I might use copy paper, A3 size usually, because of the size of the Gelli Plate that I'm using at the moment. I'll also do some squiggly lines like I'm doing now, and for that I use a little plastic bottle with a very fine nozzle, and it enables me to make these wiggly squiggly lines. It does look a little bit like writing, but I can assure you it doesn't really mean anything, and it's just me moving my hand in various different swirly-whirly ways just to make some abstract marks on the Gelli Plate. I'll use the tissue paper to pull a print from the Gelli Plate, and sometimes I'll use the same tissue paper just to mop up any excess white paint that is on the Gelli Plate, just to help it to dry a little bit so I can move on to the next stage. So nothing complicated going on at the moment. It's just the same process over and over again. Over the years and during my workshops, people ask me the same question. What's the secret to producing textures on Gelli Plates? And really there isn't any hard and fast secrets. What I would say is that you need to use the correct type of paint and apply it quite thinly. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, but most of those mistakes can be rectified, so don't worry about it. At the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper and a tiny bit of paint, so don't stress about it. Just enjoy the process. Carry on, keep on going forward. Sometimes you'll like what you've produced, sometimes it turns out a hideous mess, as you'll see in a couple of these pieces that I've produced today. So just keep on going, keep on moving forward, keep on enjoying using the Gelli Plate. You'll be really surprised at the type of textured papers that you can produce. Sometimes you'll do something that can be made into a piece of wall art on its own, but most of the time you'll be able to cut parts of it out and make it into a collage, and that's going to be the topic of the video that I've already put together, which is going to come next after this one that you're watching now. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please, I would be really grateful if you thought about doing it now. It helps my channel to grow, and that enables me to give you lots of tips and tricks and push you forward and enable you to enjoy using your Gelli Plate as much as I enjoy using mine. I think that's all I'm going to say for the moment, but I will come back onto the video a little bit later on to add some more helpful hints. In the meantime, I'm going to put some music on. Now, I know my choice of music may not be yours. I get that. So, if you really don't like to listen to the music that I've chosen, please feel free to either turn it down or turn it off completely. I won't be offended. Well, to be honest, I won't even know whether you've done it or not. So please continue to watch the presentation and I'll be back with you towards the end of this video. So here I am again, and this is the final texture that I've produced using the Paynes Grey and Titanium White. I'm always quite surprised how pale the Titanium White makes the Paynes Grey. This is, I feel, a very, very lovely grey blue. And I was quite surprised how this actual piece turned out. It wasn't exactly as I envisaged it would be, but that's the beauty, isn't it, of Gelli Plate textured paper. You never really know what you're going to get next. So as you can see, I'm just showing you that I've changed from the Paynes Grey onto Amsterdam's Lamp Black, and I'm going to spread this over the Gelli Plate in a very, very fine coating. So after I've put the Lamp Black acrylic paint onto the Gelli Plate, I've decided to use a different type of stencil just to switch it up a little bit. And I'm using the paper that I've used a few times in this video. It is a watercolour paper, a little bit heavier obviously than the wet strength tissue paper. I have to say that I'm not altogether happy with what I'm producing there. But I also realised that to get the various different textured papers along the way, sometimes you have to go through an ugly stage. And I feel that that paper that I've been working on, that you've just seen a few seconds ago, is definitely the ugly stage. But as you will find towards the end of this video, and definitely at the beginning of the next video that I've put together, you'll find that that will reappear, and I'll show you different ways of being able to use that not brilliant paper, and you can use it in collage. So never get disappointed with the textured papers that you make, because somewhere along the line you'll be able to turn it into a really nice piece of collage. So while the paint underneath is doing its magic, what I thought I would do is just bring back the piece of paper that I've just been talking about, and I thought that I would use the stencil on top of it just to try and put some more marks down using the Lamp Black. I've got a little makeup sponge there, and I'm pushing the paint through the stencil just to add a little bit more of a pattern onto it, just to break up that white area. And again, this will be something that will make a reappearance in a future video where I can show you more ideas of what to do when you're not really happy with what you've produced. And sometimes you feel that what you produced, especially in this case, is a bit of a hot mess. So that's it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed watching me as I've worked on these textured papers. I've used my Gelli Plate, a brayer, some Paynes Grey, Titanium White and Lamp Black. I've used a little plastic bottle with a thin nozzle, and that enables me to make all these wiggly squiggly lines. I've used also two types of stencils, but in the main I've enjoyed doing these textured papers. I hope you've enjoyed watching them too. And if I can remind you, if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. I'd be really, really grateful. And if you're wondering what I'm going to do with these textured papers, Well, that's going to be in the next video, and I hope you'll join me then.